Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is the Bodega Cat Book Club Health Edition, and today we're continuing our reading of the Your Money, sorry, not Your Money, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, by Dr. B. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but anyways, the subtitle is called You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty. Don't Treat Thirst with Medication. So this book was inspired, I was inspired to read this book because of fundamentals. So there are four fundamental building blocks of this that makes up this earth, this life as we know it, and water is one of them. The others are air, fire, earth, and if you want to count a fifth element, it's called ether. So, but water is a very basic, fundamental element that creates this life. So I was inspired to read that. And, it's important to learn about it, important to learn about fundamentals because fundamentals is makes, what allows us to understand how Mother Earth and nature works. So that's how it came about. But before we start, I'm just going to do a little plug on our other book clubs. We have our spiritual book clubs on Mondays and financial book clubs on Thursdays. So you're welcome to join us there. I will put a link in the description box below if you want to join us. If you can't, you can also watch it on YouTube. We put all our past book clubs that we've read, books that we've read, and also the current ones on YouTube. So check out our YouTube channel. If you get a chance, please like and subscribe so we can encourage other people to read. Reading is very important. It's a lost art. Reading is a lost art. So, anyways, we also put up our podcasts. We have podcasts that we put out once in a while on YouTube as well. So you could check those out. And then if check out our website. We have all our book club informations on there. And we have a monthly newsletter that we put out for free. So sign up for that. That way you kind of know what's going on in the world of the Bodega Cat. If you have any book recommendations you would like the book club to read, I'll leave a link in the description box below as well. And it could be for any books, spiritual books, health books, financial books. We will take that into consideration and we would love to read it if it fits our criteria. Um, let's see what else. Oh, if you like what we're doing, and if you find value, you could support us by buying me a coffee or check out our merch. You could find the merch section on our website. It's under shop. We call it the boutique shop. Well, just shop underneath the tab. And we have different designs, especially for the holidays, for pets and humans alike. So check those out. And if you are local in the Los Angeles area, or if you're traveling to Los Angeles on vacation or whatever, come join us in person. We have a healing center. We have a tech that we put out technologies. We use technologies based on Nikola Tesla's scalar wave research for holistic healing for both domestic animals, cats and dogs, as well as humans. So you could check us out there. We have all the information on our website, so you could read more about it, as well as our other services. And we would love to see you in person, get to know you. There is nothing like face-to-face relationships and communication. Zoom is great. Electronic communication is great, but it doesn't compare to in-person, uh, person-to-person energy exchange communication. All right, so that's enough of that. And let's see what else. Okay, so this today's chapter is chapter 8, and this is part 2. Okay, your body's many cries for water. And if you feel inspired by this book, tell us what you're doing to change your habit. Hope for the better, I hope. In terms of water, are you drinking more water? How much water are you drinking? How is your journey coming along? Uh, I have been trying to, it's not always successful. It's a day-to-day kind of thing, but I have a 16-ounce, uh, I guess you could say coffee mug, and I would drink, so that's 2 cups of water right there. So I'll try to drink, eight cups, which is what, two, four, six, four, 16. Do better. Do better next time. Do better next time. Little steps at a time. But anyways, in the just tell us, share your experiences, what you've been up to. We'd love to hear from you and read your comments. Okay, here we go. Like I said, this is chapter 8, part 2. Okay, let me move the camera in just a little bit here. Oh, not too much. Okay. Well, okay. Okay, if you have a book, you could follow with us there. If not, you can follow with us here on camera. Whatever works for you. Okay. All right. Here we go. In the early 1980s, an artificial sweetener called aspartame was introduced into the beverage industry. Aspartame is 180 times as sweet as sugar without any caloric intake or calorie intake. It is now in common use because the Federal Drug Administration deemed it safe to use in place of sugar. In the intestinal tract, aspartame converts to two neurotransmitter amino acids, aspartate and phenylalanine, as well as methyl alcohol or formaldehyde. Just a side note, formaldehyde is used to embalm dead bodies. Dead bodies. Okay, it is claimed that the liver renders methyl alcohol non-toxic. I personally think this claim is made to brush aside the voiced objections for commercialization of a manufactured, quote, food that has a known toxic byproduct. Caffeine converts ATP to AMP, a spent energy ash, and aspartate converts GTP energy stockpile to GMP. Both AMP and GMP are spent fuels. They cause thirst and hunger in order to replace the lost fuel stockpiles in the brain cells. Thus, diet sodas cause indiscriminate overuse of the energy reserves of cells in the brain. It is a recognized scientific fact that spent fuel AMP cause hunger. Caffeine causes addiction, and people who consume it on a regular basis should be assumed to be sodaholics. Hence, caffeine diet sodas in sedentary persons must cause weight gain. They indirectly stimulate more food intake because of the brain's forced use of its energy reserves. Bear in mind that only some of the energy value of food will be used by the brain. The rest of the consumed energy will be stored in the form of fat, if not used by muscle activity. This weight gain is one of many results of diet soda consumption. The more important reflex that becomes established is a brain reaction to a sweet taste. The jargon used is, quote, cephalic phase response. A conditioned reflex becomes established as a result of lifelong experience with sweet taste that is associated with the introduction of new energy into the body. When a sweet taste stimulates the tongue, the brain programs the liver to prepare for acceptance of new energy, sugar, from outside. The liver, in turn, stops manufacturing sugar from the protein and starch reserves of the body and instead begins to store the metabolic fuels that are circulating in the blood. As Michael G. Tardoff, Mark I. Friedman, and other scientists have shown, cephalic phase responses alter metabolic activity in favor of nutrient storage. The fuel available for conversion is reduced, which leads to the development of appetite. If it is indeed sugar that stimulates the response, the effect on the liver will be regulation of that which has entered the body. However, if the sweet taste is not followed by nutrient availability, an urge to eat will be the outcome. It is the liver that produces the signals and the urge to eat. The more a sweet taste without accompanying calories stimulates the taste buds, the more there is an urge to eat. The effect of cephalic phase response to sweet taste has clearly been shown in animal models with the use of saccharin. Using aspartame, several scientists have shown a similar urge to overeat in humans. Blundell and Hill have shown that non-nutritive sweeteners, aspartame in particular, enhance appetite and increase short-term food intake. They report, quote, after ingestion of aspartame, the volunteers were left with a residual hunger. Sorry. After ingestion of aspartame, the volunteers were left with residual hunger compared with what they reported after glucose. This residual hunger leads to increased food consumption. Tardoff and Friedman have shown that this urge to eat more food after artificial sweeteners can last up to 90 minutes after the sweet drink, even when all the blood tests show normal values. They showed that even when blood levels for insulin, higher levels of which are thought to be the cause of hunger, achieve normal levels, test animals consume more food than the controlled batch. What this means is that the brain retains for a long time the urge to eat when the taste buds for sugar are stimulated without sugar having entered the system. The sweet taste causes the brain to program the liver to store supplies rather than release supplies from its storage. Basically, it's this physiological response to sweeteners without the accompanying calories that the body is expecting compels the person to find those calories elsewhere, hence the urge to eat. When caffeine and aspartame, are introduced into the body, they dictate their stimulating effect on the cell physiology in the brain, the liver, the kidneys, the pancreas, the endocrine glands, and so on. Aspartame is converted to phenylalanine. Boy, that's a tongue twister right there. I don't know how these scientists come up with these names. But anyways, phenylalanine, lalanine, and aspartate. Both have direct stimulatory effects on the brain. The effect of caffeine and aspartame quickly establishes a new mode for the brain because they are repeatedly available in larger quantities than the ones that would otherwise establish a balanced physiology. Most neurotransmitters are secondary products from one or other amino acid. However, aspartate is one of a pair of unique amino acids that don't need to be converted to a secondary product to act on the brain to cause an effect. There are receiving points or receptors for these two amino acids, aspartate and glutamate on certain nerve cells that influence body physiology very dramatically. The use of artificial sweeteners for the false stimulation of nerve terminals that register the entry of energy supplies into the body have more severe repercussions than simply causing increase in weight. These chemicals constantly swing the body physiology in the direction dictated by the nerve system they stimulate. Their use without a thorough understanding of their long-term effects in the body, just because they pleasantly stimulate the taste buds, is short-sighted. My understanding of the microphysiology within cells causes me concern when I think of the routine use of these amino acids. I worry for the outcome of the long-term effect of the direct stimulation of the nerve glandular systems in the brain with these artificial chemical sweeteners. These systems are positioned for other important functions in the body. Research has shown that receptors for aspartate are abundantly present on some nerve systems, whose products also stimulate the reproductive organs and breasts. A constant stimulation of the breast glands without the other factors associated with pregnancy may well be implicated in the rise in the rate of breast cancer in women. The hormone prolactin may play a major role in this direction. One of the less explored complications of aspartame may be its effect as a possible facilitator in cancer formation in the brain. Fed to rats, aspartame has been implicated in brain tumor formation. Dr. H. J. Roberts has identified a number of health problems caused by aspartame and calls them aspartame disease. He thinks that all the problems attributed to silicone breast implants that caused the bankruptcy of Dow Corning were in fact the very overlapping symptoms that he had observed in 1,200 cases, mostly women, in his database of aspartame toxicity. In his book, Breast Implants or Aspartame NutraSweet Disease, question mark, he identifies health problems such as headaches, dizziness, confusion, memory loss, Alzheimer's disease, seizures, insomnia, chronic fatigue, hypoglycemia, joint pains, hair loss, and rashes as reproducible problems that can be caused by aspartame. He has written a number of other articles and books on this topic. In a widely circulated article by Nancy Markle, it is stated that even the Gulf War veteran syndrome of ill health is to be blamed on aspartame toxicity caused by the exposure of diet soda supplies of military camps in the excessive heat of the desert. Heat above 86 degrees Fahrenheit can cause decomposition of the sweetener and produce the neurotoxic elements methyl alcohol, formaldehyde, and formic acid. The heat in the desert in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait regularly reaches around 130 degrees Fahrenheit. It is primitive and simplistic thinking that one can lace water with all sorts of pleasure enhancing chemicals that substitute these fluids for the natural and clean water that the human body needs. Some of these chemicals, caffeine, aspartame, saccharin, and alcohol, through their constant lopsided effect on the brain, single-mindedly program the body chemistry with contrary results to the natural design of the body. As has been explained, the human body has many different indicators when it runs short of water. At these times, the body needs only water. It complicates matters if one substitutes artificial, taste enhanced fluids on a regular basis for the water needs of the body. One should remember that caffeine is an addictive drug, the use of which has become legal. Children, in particular, become vulnerable to the addictive properties of caffeine containing beverages. Stimulating the body at the early stages of life with pleasure enhancing chemicals in beverages will, in some program the senses to use harder addictive drugs when they reach school age. Thus, the long-term constant use of sodas in general and diet sodas in particular should be consumed to be responsible for some of the more serious health problems of our society. Dr. Marsha Gutkowski is a nutrition consultant. After reading my book, she convinced her daughter, Donna, to begin changing her fluid intake habits. The result astounded mother and daughter. Here is Donna's testimonial. April 25th, 1994. Dear Dr. B, my mother asked that I write to you and tell you about my recent weight loss success. I know that I could have a much more successful loss if I would follow your formula and curb my eating habits, along with starting a regular routine of exercise. However, just getting myself to get off the 6 to 8 cans of Mountain Dew a day is a miracle in itself. Within the last 9 months to a year, I have successfully been able to keep 35 excess pounds of baggage off. Just a side note, note here that she says 9 months to a year. So this is not an overnight kind of thing. Any kind of habit has to be a marathon. It's a little bit at a time. It's an, like I always said, it's an everyday battle. But you do it a little bit at a time and you see the results, much later. So, you know, we are so programmed in our current society to have instant results. And sometimes that's not the case, especially when it comes to health. You know, it takes a while. So, anyways, I just wanted to put in my 2 cents about that. All right. I am able to wear clothes that I thought would never touch my body again. I also have just about reached my goal size for my upcoming wedding. Even my fiance had to admit that I am looking much better than when he first met me 5 years ago. My success has been contributed to faithfully drinking half my body weight in ounces in water every day. Wherever I go, so does my water. To work, shopping, even my long 7 hour long car rides. That does make for a lot of rest area stops, but they are worth it. Another side note, long trips. I've done that. I've driven with a couple friends from LA to North Carolina, so that's cross country. And we did many, many rest stops. And it's good because you need to stretch, your body needs to move. Um, it's very stiff being in the car for so long. So you do need a lot of rest stops to stretch your legs, to do some stretching and exercise, and to kind of get that energy moving, those muscles kind of moving, so you don't atrophy, you don't get too stiff. Just another side note there. Okay, continue. I do treat myself to an occasional mineral water or beer when I go out, but I have usually gotten my quota of water in for the day. One interesting thing that I have noticed, however, is that once I have finished drinking my quota of water, I have no desire to drink anymore. Also, I have found that I'm not thirsty anymore, and it will usually take me a while to drink some other type of beverage, whether it be juice, milk, beer, mineral water, etc. I'm looking forward to October 1st, which is my wedding day, when I can walk down the aisle looking better than I have looked in 15 years. Since I graduated from high school, Oh, sorry, that was a not quite a run-on sentence, but that was a period. So let me try that again. I'm looking forward to October 1st, which is my wedding day, when I can walk down the aisle looking better than I have looked in 15 years since I graduated from high school. It will also be nice to put my weight on my new driver's license without having to cringe for the first time in my life. Thanks for the smaller me, Donna M. Gutkowski. Okay, so here is another formula that you can use as a benchmark. Drinking half of my body weight in ounces in water. Okay, I don't know what the formula is, but half, let's say, just to make the math easy for me, I'm sure she's not that heavy, but let's just use 200 pounds as a benchmark, as an arbitrary number. Half of that is 100. So I don't know what that means. 100 ounces, is that what she meant? If anybody can figure that out, leave a comment in the comment below. Um, so what is 100 ounces? I don't know the formula in my head. I'll have to use the great Google, Oracle Google, for the formulation. But anyways, if anybody can do that math formula, let us know. Be very interested. And of course, benchmarks are just benchmarks. You still have to listen to your body. Your body is the ultimate physician. No matter what the experts say, no matter what math formula there is or is out there, or average number or whatever it is, you still have to you use that as a benchmark, but Also, experiment on yourself. And the best way to do that is keep a journal. Keep it daily journal if you want, a weekly journal. Your body is still your best physician. Always, always, always listen to your body. Okay, onward. Donna is now happily married. By the time of her wedding, she had lost over 40 pounds. Good for her. Yay for Donna. All right. This science-based way of weight loss will be permanent, whereas with only food limitation, even if some weight is lost, it is regained in a short period of time. Worse still, one is constantly hounded by the fallacy of needing to limit this or that food, particularly on the subject of cholesterol content, a present-day vogue. Do not be shocked. Contrary to the present trend of excluding eggs from daily diet, I eat as many eggs I like. Eggs have a well-balanced protein content. I also understand how excess cholesterol formation in the body is associated with prolonged dehydration. Priscilla Preston, Priscilla Preston, like Elvis's, who is it, wife or daughter? I don't know. It just sounds familiar. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. It was a little squirrel there. Um, okay. It just sounds familiar to me. Okay, Priscilla Preston's letter further explains the relationship of dehydration, not only to weight gain, but to the devastating problem of asthma, the subject of the next chapter. In taking steps to prevent asthma, she lost 35 pounds. Another important point in her letter is the role of salt in disease prevention. Salt is important to the body. The salt sensors on the tongue, when strongly stimulated, remove the body's anxiety and stops it from panicking for water. When salt is available, the body is at least assured of an efficient water filtration system for its emergency supply to the important cells. You will read more about that, about salt, in chapter 12. Please bear in mind the letters in this book are real life stories. They are not anecdotes. Anecdotes. We do not need statistics to convince people of the efficacy of water when the body is demonstrating an urgent need of it. Whose fault is it that the human body's regional calls for water and its programs of adaptation to dehydration have been labeled as disease conditions? Is there any plausible reason why, for evaluation of natural treatment procedures, we should adhere to the self-serving methodology and yardstick of the pharmaceutical industry? Its inaccurate assertions have until now caused so much pain and agony for people whose bodies are only crying out for water. Okay, so here is the letter from Priscilla Preston. Boy, that name just sounds so familiar. If anybody, I don't know why, but anyways, okay. October 30th, 1994. This is a letter to Dr. B from Priscilla B. Preston, APR Public Relations, and she's from Amarillo, Texas. And here she says to whom it may concern. Imagine having to sleep in an upright position for almost a year, struggling for each breath. You know what? Let me move the camera in a little bit, just a little bit more, because the font in this particular, oops, the other way, Christina. The font in this particular letter is quite small. Okay, there you go. All right. Imagine having to sleep in an upright position for almost a year, struggling for each breath and suffering from countless asthma and panic attacks nightly. That was me until 5 months ago. On March 27, 1993, I was hospitalized with a severe asthma attack and developed bronchial pneumonia. My blood gases registered 40 and I was in a life-threatening situation. After my release from the hospital, I was placed on large doses of theophylline and prednisone. My weight skyrocketed, and the medication caused me to become hostile and disoriented. I really didn't want to live. Then a wonderful friend gave me a flyer on Dr. B's book, Your Body's Many Cries for Water. I quickly mailed a check and a letter to the doctor pleading for a fast delivery. To my complete surprise, he called me personally and started helping me by telephone to get off the medication, which was inappropriate for my condition at this time, and asked me to drink at least 3 liters of water a day and use a small amount of salt. He also asked me to walk in an indoor shopping mall for 15 minutes a day. I can now walk for 30 minutes a day and my breathing is 100% better. As of this date, October 31st, 1994, I am no longer on any medication for asthma. I have not used an inhaler or medication of any sort for more than 5 months. When I start any sort of mild freezing, I just drink a glass of water and take a little salt and I'm fine. And guess what? All of the wonderful water and walking has made me lose 35 pounds. I'm now back to my desired weight and I look young, vibrant, and healthy again. There are millions of Americans out there who need to get the message. They suffer from AIDS, asthma, arthritis, and chronic fatigue syndrome, etc. Everyone in America could benefit from reading Dr. B's book, Dr. B's books, plural. Very sincerely, Priscilla Preston. All right. End of chapter 8. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to do a experiment with just 2 treatments, walking and drinking water every day, and see what that result is. That'd be an interesting experiment to do. Get a group of people and do maybe like a controlled and a non-controlled, I guess. I don't know. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. I know I certainly enjoyed the letters that are sent in. Those are incredible stories, success stories, right? I'm sure there are a lot of non-successful stories too, but I think at the end of the day, the non-successful stories are the ones that people haven't followed through or they um, changed their habits for a little bit, start drinking water, and then fell off the wagon and never got back up, right? So those are the non-successful ones. So when I hear people talk about, this program doesn't work or that program doesn't work, and I kind of wonder, is it the program that's not working or is it the person that didn't follow through with the program that's not working? Yeah, interesting questions, eh? All right. So we will continue next time. And in the meantime, I hope you guys all have a great day, great evening, great afternoon, great week, and we will see you next time. All right, bye bye now.